It's August. We're back here on the Pike 165. We're going to put some green plots in today, check cameras again. We've already checked cameras a couple times, and there's some real good bucks showing up down here. A lot of 10-pointers. There's one big 8-pointer we think is going to be probably in the mid-50s. Pulling in here now and seeing the transformation with the beans coming up, and you know, the little bit of timber we cut out of here is recovering, and it's got that thick, low security cover feel to it. Totally different vibe from the first time we were here, man. I remember pulling in here not too long ago, and this field was just ripped and rough and plowed, and it was ready for us to get our arms wrapped around it.
What a difference with the beans. It looks finished, it feels finished. A couple final touches today, and we're gonna show you around.
My name is Bobby Kendall. After a decade of playing country music, my family and I moved to West Central Illinois to chase my true passion, giant Midwest whitetail bucks. The Whitetail Group was born in 2015 and has grown exponentially ever since. We develop properties for the elite whitetail hunting experience. This is not my hobby or even an obsession. This is a lifestyle.
My name is Toby Stay. I'm a broker with LandGuys, specializing in the marketing of recreational property. My role with the Whitetail Group is to help identify and design properties that can produce world-class whitetails. This is not a series just about hunting. This is a series about the process of developing farms for hunting.
Join us as we document the transformation of some of our project farms from ordinary dirt to extraordinarily productive recreational properties. We are the Whitetail Group.
So I got my trusty snowplow stakes. That's what I use to mark these beans for these farmers. We're gonna mark out it's about an acre, 3/4 of an acre, something like that right here. Toby's gonna overseed this with some rye. That small seed will have the best chance of germinating, and we're gonna leave these beans, and then they'll be set up perfectly to frost seed some clover. So plan is long-term, this will be a nice green plot in this saddle, up and over, pinch, lots of scrape branches within bow range. I'm gonna head back to the back plot and start ripping her, get her planted.
One pretty impressive gadget, custom built by Bobby Kendall. One-shot deal, does it all. So this box blind hunts this little pinch point up here. We're overseeding rye into the beans, so that once the beans start to turn yellow, they let some light in, we get a little bit of rain, and the green comes up underneath of the beans, so you kind of got a twofold food plot for late season. So access comes in from the road, and because of the way the terrain lays, you're virtually not gonna be seen by any deer that's bedded off these edges. You come right in here with a west wind in your face, get in the box blind. So what we did is we saved just a little bit of seed left here. So we're gonna figure that most of the time you're gonna be hunting, we're gonna have a southwest or a northwest. So we're gonna go ahead and seed that side of the blind heavy. And we want most of the deer, if you have any control over that, to come out on the west side of the box blind for wind purposes and visual purposes and entrance purposes, all that stuff. So we seeded the plot real consistent here with plenty of seed, but I saved just a little bit so that I can see the sweet spot on the side of the blind that you'd really like to have the deer favor. So that's what we're gonna do now. Now that we've got beans here and you start to walk around and analyze what your crops are looking like, man, it's very evident by the pounding that these beans are taking in certain spots that the deer numbers are very high, and also our cameras are confirming that. Bucks are looking good. The buck-doe ratio looks really good down here, even though it has super high deer numbers. We're gonna check these cameras here before we leave, and maybe a few new bucks will pop up. We've got several 10s, we got a giant 8. One of the most prominent scrapes that we found on this property was right here. So when we did this whole wall system in here to funnel these deer around this side of the farm, everything was kind of gauged for this road to pop out right at the scrape branch and right at the food plot. We've had a camera running here, in the summertime, and this is where we've been getting a lot of the buck traffic is coming right up this new road, coming around the walls that we put in. And I can already see that branch is just getting a little bit of attention out there.
So we're standing back here in this spot that if you've been following along our development videos on this project, you saw us build this back in the winter. Basically, there's just an internal fence system. It's not a property line or anything, but there's an internal fence system in here. These deer were kind of funneling around it anyway. So we picked a huntable tree, put some tops in here back to the fence, blocked that traffic off, hung another stand up there about 25 yards, and then we took a bunch of debris from the logging project, brought it all the way up towards the field, and created this little pinch with 2 stands.
On a west wind, when these bucks get cruising and they're scent checking all the food, our food plot's only like 125 yards up here. So with any kind of a west wind, and it's just natural that a deer's gonna come through here anyway when he's cruising just to scent check everything. But now we've made this 125 yard place that he could come through, squeezed it down to a 30 yard gap with an option for any wind. So it'd be a killer rut spot. Upping probability. That's the whole name of the game with the majority of what we do is analyzing high traffic areas or bedding areas and then just doing certain things that make them even better.
When you think about the number of days in a deer season that a big deer actually gets on its feet and does serious walking, it's very low number of days, so you can't just see him when he's out walking in daylight. You have to see him and be able to kill him. So that's what this type of stuff is all about. We got standing food. It's gonna go in right here in this bowl so that you can kind of have a little advantage getting in and out of the blind or to and from without possibly blowing deer off the field from 500 yards away.
So we're trying to figure out how big of a patch of beans to leave, so make sure that we got good hunting still in December, January. We've got a green plot here, so that'll take a little bit of the heat off of it, but you don't want to leave beans, and then by the time it's time to be down here hunting them, the deer have got them eaten already. So I think we're going to overkill this just a little bit to make sure that we've got plenty. We ran way down to the corner of the farm to check the camera that didn't get checked last time. And as we're cruising down the bean field, we look down through the timber and I'm like, man, there's a water hole in there that I didn't notice before. We come in here and the trails coming in off the beans are just powder. Tracks in the mud all around the pond. I mean, it looks like there's been cattle in here. Of course, it's August, it's hot. These deer are gravitating towards water. This is a pond that's hidden way up here in the timber. I mean, look at this, it's just getting smoked.
We're in here on the main woodlot of the farm. This is the spot we talked about when we first walked the farm. We came up this point here and found all the rubs and scrapes and talked about the concentration of scent and how it was already a good spot. So what we did is we got that stand up there and we've got a pile of debris from there up to the field. And then we've got some starting here at this little swale going down that way to just help funnel them even more. And we made sure that we put a main logging road on this point, so they'll naturally travel it. Got some scrape branches here, and it's an awesome spot. Thermals in the evenings, if you were to come in here in the evening, should pull into this draw right here. It's just a killer spot.
This is a super, super thick bowl is what we intended this to end up being. So it's got a lot of holding power. So, you know, when those bucks get cruising and they're gonna come cruise through this bedding area, you know, you make these little pinches and the roads, you just make them use the area that you want to hunt exactly how you want them to use it. There's another pinch point down there that's just up from the pond, and all these logging roads kind of funnel down and they all pinch right there at this place that they had to go around the pond anyway. We just made it super easy and super huntable for those deer to use that one spot to be able to hunt these two thick hillsides. That's how they're going to move between the two hillsides, is right through that gap.
And then, of course, back in the southwest woodlot, we hung that stand. That was just a killer spot. As it was, I mean, the internal point coming down, tons of history of old rubs and scrapes coming down that point, all leading together, pinching at that little bluff. So some killer spots.
So we're wrapping things up here on the Pike 165. We started all this project standing in this same spot with this pond behind us. We're back here now at the end of the project. The pond's beautiful, clean, had a fish survey done to it. We know exactly what's going on here with bass, crappie, and bluegill. We've had cameras running. We know what kind of bucks are using this. We've got all the road systems done. The box blinds are up, the ladder stands are up. We planted the last of the green plots today. Came back in here to check out the cabin site one more time. This farm has everything that anybody could look for in a recreational property. Killer building site with utilities, trophy fishing pond, trophy bucks, box blinds, stands, road systems. Plots are done, standing plots are marked out to be left. There's nothing else left to do. It's ready to use, available here shortly. You can contact me at landguys.com or my number on the bottom of the screen.